Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm your host, Dr. David Hooper, and we are back for another episode of the Unstoppable Introvert Project. And today is all about transforming your leadership as an introvert to show your worth, to lead people into success, and to get the recognition you need, because the world needs more introverts in leadership positions. I think it is one of the most underrated or undervalued trait in a leader when it comes to those in power. Being an introvert, there's so much that we bring when it comes to those senior roles. And today we're going to be getting into one, how do you actually be a good leader? But two, I'm going to give you some hints and tips, strategies, frameworks to really help you stand out when it comes to getting into these leadership positions as well. Have you ever wondered what sets great leaders apart from the rest? Imagine if you could unlock the secrets of effective leadership and inspire those around you to reach new heights. In today's episode, we're diving into the core principles of leadership and how you can develop these skills to lead with confidence and impact. And one thing that you need to remember from the get-go is, as introverts, we can lead people just as well as anybody, as extroverts as anybody. Remember, introversion relates more to how you recharge your energy, and something that puts us off perhaps when it comes to leadership positions is dealing with so many people, having the attention on us a lot of the time, maybe having to go to busy places lots of the time, real energy sapping activities. But when you're ambitious, when you're trying to be unstoppable, you have to go and sometimes do the things you don't want to do, but you have to make it work for you. And hopefully by the end of today, you are going to have an idea of what I mean by that. But how has your week been? We are into June. Can you believe it? June 2024, and we're halfway through the year. How are your goals looking? I know I ask this every now and again on my solo podcasts, but it's a really, hopefully, a nudge for you to just think, how am I doing? Am I progressing? Am I progressing towards that leadership position that I was coveting, or I wrote in my journal in January that I was going to go and chase? How is it all going? For me, the year's been pretty good. We were on holiday in Crete a few weeks ago, which was incredible, and I'll tell you more about that as time goes on. As you can see, I'm very well tanned. I'm actually probably whiter than when I went. The amount of sun cream that I wear it's impressive, actually. I'm a factor 50 type of guy, 3 to 4 applications a day type of guy. It's something that I've embraced. There you go. That's my sun cream update and my holiday update. In terms of other updates, I have been really working hard on progressing Lunala AI. That has been something I've really enjoyed doing over the past couple of weeks. My soft launch went really well. I had a load of interest, loads of questions, which is exactly what I wanted. And then I've been fine-tuning my offer when it comes to who I'm going to support when I officially launch my business in the first week of July. And that's been progressing. I've been doing a load of courses, and I've been just trying to upskill myself so I can really provide an incredible service to businesses and to online coaches. So I'm excited. I hope you are too. And let's get into true leadership. So I think my experiences of leadership are varied, but I've always been in a position of some sort of leadership since I was fairly young. Even though I'm quiet, I'm shy, I'm socially anxious, I'm an introvert, and that has been from sport from a young age, which was captaining just about every football team I've ever played in. I then started coaching at, again, fairly young age, which was kind of 18, taking charge of teams. And that was taking charge of junior football teams. And then at 22, I got my first managerial role in sport as the manager of a senior women's team. So at 22, I was managing people who were 30s plus, 20s to 30s to 40s sometime, and working with the chairman of the football club and the secretary and all these different people. So that was really good. And then within my roles, I've been fortunate to line manage people, to lead on major projects, and also in the entrepreneurial side, when you're managing a business, you're managing and leading your staff, you're managing and leading all of the projects within that, and you're working and leading maybe other people outside of the organization, whether it's clients or people you're collaborating with. It's really cool. So when you say leadership, remember, it's also not just professional. So think about the relationships that you're in as well, because you are a leader in those situations just as much as you are a leader when you are in work as well. But I think one of the key things that my personal story should tell you is that it doesn't matter what your personality type is particularly. Anyone can be a leader if you approach things in certain ways. And remember, leadership is more than just a title. It's more than just a position. It's about influence. It's about vision. It's about the ability to inspire and guide others towards a common goal as well. And remember as well, true leaders are made, not born. And anyone can develop the skills necessary to lead effectively. So just because you might not feel like you're ready to lead now doesn't mean that you never will be. And that is something to keep in mind as we progress. So you can develop these skills. Even if you're thinking, I'm never ever going to line manage someone. I'm never going to lead this project. I'm never going to get to a certain level in my job or whatever. Or maybe you have a business, but you're nervous about getting employees. And just know when the time comes, you'll feel right, you'll step up, and you'll be able to lead them. And the other key skill and the other key part of leadership, I think, especially for introverts, is courage. And having the courage to speak out, to make decisions, tough decisions, to take risks, to speak to people when they need put back in line, to really show that you are working on their behalf. You're not working as someone who is dictating things to them. You are helping to pull the boat in the direction that you all are trying to get it towards. So I think it's a really exciting topic. And I think that when it comes to leadership, everybody who is watching this, everybody who's listening to this podcast has the ability to develop these skills and to uplift not only yourselves professionally, but by those people who look up to you and surround you as well. So be that person who sets the standards, be that person who is organized, be that person who drives change and fosters innovation and creates that sense of purpose with your family, but also professionally as well. Because effective leaders can transform organizations or communities or all those personal relationships that I'm talking about by bringing out the best in others. There's probably someone, I'm sure you can reflect back, who was an incredible leader and inspired you to be better, to change what you're doing, to act in a different way. Maybe you were naughty and getting in trouble with the police. You met someone, they transformed your whole thinking, and now you're a positive light in the community or something like that. I bet there's one person, and let me know who it is. Drop me a DM on Instagram at Dr. David Hooper. Let me know who your inspirational leader is, because it's important to acknowledge some of those people as well. And when I look back at the people who I'm really inspired by, it's those people who really approach supporting me and their team on an individual level. So not just a blanket one size fits all approach. They're the people who are really open and transparent with their communication. The people who weren't afraid to put a few noses out of place, especially when it comes to corporate positions. And it's those people who I certainly try and be like, and it's those people who are really, inspiring to me. And the other thing I think when it comes to leadership, it's those people who protect you even when you might have messed up. So they don't let you get in trouble. They take the hit and then work with you to improve what it is that you're struggling with. So let's dive into the essential qualities of effective leadership, and let's see where being an introvert fits in with all of this. So the first thing I always like to talk about is vision and purpose. If you remember it's quite a while ago now, one of the first podcasts I did was around the 6 levels of neurological change. And the top of that was your vision. And this was the most powerful thing that you can tap into when you're making changes and when you're creating this incredible life for yourself. And that is exactly the same when it comes to leadership. Great leaders have a clear vision of what they want to achieve. They have this strong sense of purpose. They know where they want to go, and they can articulate this vision to others in a really compelling, exciting, inspiring, and motivating way. And this clarity helps to align and motivate their team. Now, if you think about this from a practical standpoint, if you're given a task and there isn't a huge, exciting, big goal to aim for, you kind of think, what's the point in doing this task? It's boring, it's unmotivating, I'm just going through the motions, I do the same thing every week. It's just not something that creates a fulfilling life. But if a leader steps in front of that group of employees and sets out a vision and the big goal that the whole company's working for, and you're playing a tiny part in achieving that, then it is an incredible thing to get excited about. Now, there was a really cool story about a janitor who worked at, I think it was the Staples Center in Los Angeles, which is the home of the LA Lakers, the incredibly successful basketball team. And there was one day where he was cleaning the courts or whatever, and the manager or the head coach of the LA Lakers he must have been new, so he got introduced to everybody, and he got introduced to this janitor. And the janitor said, who are you and what do you do, that type of thing. And the janitor said, I'm the janitor and I clean these floors and blah, blah, blah. And the head coach stopped him and said, no, yes, you're the janitor and yes, you're cleaning these floors, but you're helping us to win the championship. And that story to me it gives me tingles on the back of my neck, because imagine that janitor is transformed from being someone who just sees themselves as someone who cleans the courts and is maybe ignored from time to time, to someone who the head coach has said, you are playing an incredibly important part in helping us win our next championship. Now, how motivating is that? How inspiring is that? And that janitor, I think, told that story and said how incredible this leader was. So I think that is so interesting, because that change of terminology, that change of perspective, that change of vision and purpose really impacted that employee's life. And that was down to the leader. So have a think about what your own vision and purpose is. Whenever you have a big goal, or rather a project, you should try and attach it to a big goal. Now, this is one of the reasons I've managed to be successful as a leader. And it's so simple. I think I've mentioned this on a podcast before. If I have a project, I always attach it to a big, quite often tangible goal, one that will get me noticed and get the project noticed, but two, will be the driving force behind every action that we take. So I've had some really boring projects in the past. One was data driven, and I'm not a data guy particularly. I find it a bit boring, and I'm not that bothered about understanding it really. But I got given this project, and I turned this project into something that won awards, was on the on kind of like the big national kind of communication databases. I presented papers on it. I got recognition for it. I spoke at places I shouldn't have been speaking at because of it. I was in rooms talking to people I shouldn't have been in. All of these different things. And it's all because of the vision and purpose of that boring project. I turned it into something exciting, something massive, something I could really get my teeth into. And then my team, who contributed as well, also felt motivated and got stuck into their little parts of the project. So that vision and purpose can really transform a lot of things. The second one is emotional intelligence. So understanding and managing your own emotions as well as others is crucial for leadership. High emotional intelligence allows leaders to navigate challenges, build strong relationships, and create a positive work environment. Now, I think as introverts, this is something that we should really grasp. One of our major strengths is having the ability to manage our own emotions. So a lot of the time, if I'm angry, sad, happy, confused, excited, you wouldn't be able to tell because my face remains the same, that poker face, which is good sometimes, it's bad in times as well. But if you are a leader, being able to put yourself in neutral and to make an informed decision is so important. Now, something that we have over extroverts who might be in a similar situation and show they're pissed off, show they're angry, show that they're not managing their own emotions particularly well, which will affect the team spirit and the morale and all those different things. And it will mean that you are not particularly leading in a good way. So really lean into your introversion when it comes to leadership. Lean into your emotional intelligence and your ability to manage your own emotions and to really think things through and to not lose your cool and to just know how to act in certain situations. Number 3 is communication skills. Effective communication is at the heart of good leadership. Leaders must be able to convey their vision and provide feedback and listen to their team. Clear, concise, and empathetic fosters trust and it fosters collaboration. And this is something that I think leadership really boils down to in a lot of ways as well. I've seen leaders who have been terrible at this, and it really affects the team. So in previous lives, I was at a place that was going through major financial challenges, and there was talk of kind of severance packages and people being made redundant and these awful types of things. And during that process, the director of the department resigned. The next in line did not acknowledge that this had happened and what it meant for us and why this had happened. And what that led to was absolute turmoil in the trenches where we were. There was a high count of mental health issues. Lots of people were struggling with depression and anxiety and worry, obviously. People were leaving when they probably could have stayed. It was carnage. And it was all down to this person's inability to lead effectively, which caused so many challenges. So it's better to be clear and just say really easily, this person's left, this is why they left, and this is what it means for us. It could be that it means absolutely nothing. Say that, because then it saves people worrying, it saves people feeling unsure, and it shows that you have the ability to lead that group of people. So keep that nice and high in your priority list. Ensure communication skills. One of the things that I've found people really appreciate when it comes to the podcast, especially those people who are the guests, is my communication. So I get in touch a lot, not too much, but a lot, and make sure they have everything they need and double check everything and send everything well in advance, and all of those things that are so simple to do but transform the experience of the guest. Now, I've been guests on podcasts before where I haven't had a clue what we were going to talk about, or I didn't have the link until 5 minutes before. All of these things, certainly as introverts, that we need and I need. So I've just tried to lead these interviews and these podcast guests in a way that I'd really appreciate being led. Always communicate as often and as clearly as possible, and people are going to really, really appreciate that, and then they will go to work for you because they know that you've got their backs. Number 4 is decisiveness and accountability. Leaders must be able to make decisions confidently and take responsibility for the outcomes. This involves weighing options, considering the impact on all stakeholders, and being willing to stand by your choices. Now, this is, again, coming back to that courage, that ability to say, you know what, I messed up, is such a great quality to have, and it's one that I think is really vital in relationships. So one of the reasons my wife and I are doing so well, I guess, we are coming up to 8 years of marriage in July, the end of July, and the reason we've been married so long with so little problems is because of our ability to acknowledge when we've done wrong or we've messed up. I had one the other day where Laura had asked me to cancel one of the apps on my phone. It was $8.99 and I don't use it anymore. So I was like, yeah, we'll save some money. We'll cancel that app. And I forgot. And then a few days passed and the $8.99 came out and I was like, oh, balls. Like, how have I forgot to do that? And I just went straight up to Laura and I was like, I messed up. I'm sorry. The $8.99's come out. I've since cancelled it. It won't come out again. And although that seems nothing, what's $8.99 really? It was really appreciated. And she was like, yeah, no problem. Like, that's fine. These things happen. And I was like, oh, okay, great. So, you cut each other a little bit of slack, of course. But when it comes to, those bigger arguments, which we all have, no one lives peacefully forever. Christ, that would be pretty boring. If you do blow up at each other, having the courage to say, I'm sorry for my part in that is really courageous. And what it means is you can diffuse arguments a lot quicker and you can go back to living your love-filled life and fulfilled life in a much quicker way, which is what we all want. Isn't it daft when you just sit in an argument for hours? It's absolutely crazy. So yeah, really prioritize being decisive, making those tough decisions, but also being accountable as well. And that really is what a great leader does. They're accountable. They make the tough calls. If it works out, they say, well done to the team. If it doesn't work out, they say, that was my fault. I got it wrong. And lastly, number 5, adaptability and resilience. The ability to adapt to changing circumstances and bounce back from setbacks is so essential as a leader. Those people who are flexible and resilient can navigate that uncertainty and keep their team focused and motivated. So when it comes to that adaptability and flexibility, you can probably all think of those leaders who are in the good category here and in the not so good category. So those in the not so good category arrive with a plan, which is great, get input from other people, and then say, no, I'm not interested in your thoughts really. We're just going to do my way because I say so, because I'm in charge. The other side is those people who come with a plan, listen to others, and then take on board what those other people's thoughts are. I think there's nothing more powerful than when a leader acknowledges where their weaknesses are and says, you know what, you're much stronger than me at this. You take the lead. And that is really inspiring for that group of people who you're working with. And it allows you to take a step back, maybe look at things from an aerial view or a macro view while your employees work on the micro. So it's a really good trait. I think that sometimes leaders see that adaptability or that flexibility as a weakness. They think, no, I should be doing everything. I'm the boss. I should be leading here. When actually that isn't what great leaders do. They take a step back and they allow others to take the lead. So keep that in mind as you go. That is a really incredible skill to have. So when it comes to all of this, just as a reminder, take these practical steps, these actions or tips, whatever you want to call them, and you're really going to be developing your leadership skills. So remember, define that vision. Take time to reflect on those goals. What do you want to achieve? Get them written down. Write that vision down. Share it widely. Share it with your team. Share it with your family. And this clarity is going to help keep you motivated. The second one, emotional intelligence. Try and develop it. Try and foster it. Work on recognizing and controlling your own emotions. Practice that empathy. Put yourself in other people's shoes. And this is going to really help you build stronger connections, and it's going to allow you to lead more effectively. Number 3, enhance those communication skills. Make a conscious effort to improve them every day. Practice that active listening, give that constructive feedback, and ensure that your messaging is clear and concise and transparent. This is going to foster trust and collaboration between you, your team, your partner, whoever it might be. Number 4 was be decisive and accountable. So when faced with decisions, gather the necessary information, weigh up those options, and make a choice. Be prepared to take responsibility for the outcomes for that choice, whether it's good or bad. And remember to really own those decisions, whether they're good, whether they're bad, because that is your role now in this leadership position. And number 5, embrace that ability. Embrace adaptability and that resilience. Cultivate a mindset of flexibility and resilience and mental toughness. Embrace change as an opportunity for growth and learn from setbacks. This will help you stay focused, and it'll even keep you going in challenging times. So I hope this has been useful today. We've explored the qualities of that effective leadership, mainly, the vision, the purpose, emotional intelligence, communication skills, decisiveness, and adaptability. and of course, adaptability and mental toughness as well. And this is really going to help you as you strive leading your companies, or if you're about to start leading as well, then hopefully this has been helpful. Really start to implement these thoughts and these changes, these strategies in your daily life, professionally, personally, and let us know how it goes. Share your experiences, drop us a message, leave us a comment. I'd love to hear from you, because remember, your journey could inspire others to develop their own leadership skills and their own journey. Remember to connect with me on Instagram at Dr. David Hooper. You can find me on LinkedIn and Facebook and TikTok as well. You can find us on YouTube at Dr. David Hooper. And of course, you can find us on Spotify, the Unstoppable Introvert Project podcast. Please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel reach those who really, really need it. And remember, your introversion isn't a barrier, it is your superpower. Until next time, stay unstoppable.